people are in a weird space. Things are very complex. Sales cycles are a lot longer, and they've also moved off of really public spaces and into quiet like group chats. A lot of people, I think, are having a really hard time in business, but they don't feel like they're allowed to say it because they've been doing it for a long time, and you got to keep your game face on. So I'm seeing that. And what's fascinating to me is at the same time, I'm seeing them make these really smart strategic moves for the long term. And as long as they can kind of like separate the scared part of their brain from the strategy part, they're doing the things that move the business forward, and it's working super well. It's just having that, like confidence or like ability to just sort of push through your own mind to be like, it's probably going to fail. I don't know, but I'm going to do it anyway. And the people who are doing that, it's actually working really well.
You're listening to Brainwork Framework, a business and marketing podcast brought to you by focus-biz.com.
Welcome back to another episode. With us today is the owner of Bolt from the Blue Copywriting, Rachel Allen. They provide data-driven, human-centered marketing for good people doing hard work that matters. So excited to have you on. How is everything going?
Delightful, actually. I know we were just talking about where we're from. Currently, I'm in Chattanooga, and it's been raining for about 3 weeks. So spring here. It's lovely.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I hope you're staying dry and trying to keep a positive attitude with the lack of sunshine. I know that can kind of make a difference. However, business life is a journey. You're going through it, 17 years plus of experience. Tell us more about that journey. What were you doing before that kind of led you to where you are now?
I fell into it completely backwards. I didn't even know that like copywriting was a job until I started doing it. I had no plans to form a business. I ended up, I was in school for journalism, and then I graduated into the '08 recession. And of course, like nobody's hiring anybody. I bought a ticket to Hong Kong because it was the furthest place away I could think of from Tennessee, and I just left. But I didn't get a work visa or anything before I left because, 22. And I landed there with like $200 in my bank account, and I had to make rent. And I'm Googling like how to make money online. And I found this thing called copywriting, and I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure that's a scam. Nobody's going to pay me to write. Come on. But I took it, and they paid me, and I was like, I want to do this forever. So I have been.
That is absolutely incredible. A lot of times I hear this from other business owners. They just kind of fall into it. Like you said, they were looking for something. They weren't sure what they were looking for, but somehow the universe finds a way to them to present this opportunity.
Yeah.
But that one job, how did you take it to that next level? Did you start a website, start networking? What was that kind of pivotal point to where it's like, this is really now a business?
Well, mostly I ignored it for like the first 3 years. I was like, this is my side gig. I'm going to do my grown-up job like any day now. But it was just so interesting. I kept doing this. And then about 3 years in, I was like living the entrepreneur dream. I'm living on this island in Greece. I'm like working in the morning and sunbathing all afternoon. And I was so anxious all the time because this wasn't like the plan. So I had to decide, am I going to bet on myself? Am I going to just like go and try and get a W-2 job? And I made a deal with myself of I'm going to do a 1-year master's degree in London. And if at the end of that, I'm more interested in the business, then I'll do that. If I'm more interested in academia, I'll go do that. So I did that while simultaneously running the business. It like explodes in that year because I got the website up and everything. And at the end of the year, I was like, it's just more interesting. I just have to go with it. That was like the mental turning point. And then everything after that, it was just getting a website and email put together.
That is incredible. I love hearing that history because sometimes it's out of the blue. We don't have to put too much effort in, and luck and opportunity finds a place, and we're able to put it together. Some entrepreneurs, they struggle for years and never really make it full time to get to that point. What do you think was kind of that big piece started to actually really take off where you could go full time and things started growing and growing?
Yeah. Well, like you said, it's a lot of luck, right? So as I was doing this, in the year leading up to that 1 year, I decided I was going to blog every single week for a year because like that's what you're supposed to do. And nobody read it. Like it was just me trying to figure out my life with this stuff. So I did it. And then about, 2/3 of the way through the year, somebody posted one of my blogs in a Facebook group and somebody else saw it. And that person was like, hey, you seem weird. I want to know you. And so we got on a sales call because I think blog was about like death or something. I was like, I contemplate my own mortality and that's why I do this business. And so she's like, you're insane. You need to work for me. So I did. And that was really the turning point because she was kind of like a big deal in the London entrepreneur world. She was super generous in introducing me to all of her friends. And from there, I just kind of built this network of referrals that sort of started rippling out.
That is incredible. It's tough because As I mentioned before, sometimes people are struggling to even gain traction, but I think it's a testament to both your work ethic and the value that you're providing to people. Obviously, it's something that people are so interested in. They keep referring other businesses and friends and family over to you to do more work. And that has to feel like a huge accomplishment. Like, hey, finally struck what I'm really good at, what's working, it's providing value. So congratulations, that's incredible.
Thanks. We've been about 94% referrals for the whole time I've been doing this. And for a while, I thought that was kind of a bad thing because I was like, well, it's not like super scalable and not that I actually want to scale. But I finally came to the realization I was like, oh no, I just like this. I like making friends with people and then I get to work with them sometimes.
That is absolutely fantastic. So for your business, tell me more about some of the work that you're doing. Ghostwriting kind of takes many different shapes and sizes. What has been working well for you in terms of the ghostwriting, and kind of tell us more about how that works for businesses?
Well, so I did the copywriting stuff for a really long time, and then I transitioned into more of like a marketing strategist, like general word consultant space. And I have been doing a lot of ghostwriting lately. And I, again, fell into it backwards because I was like, who am I to write a book? But my clients asked me, and I was like, okay, whatever. And then I realized that I actually really enjoyed it. And I applied my marketing brain to breaking down the structure of a book. I work with people and we have a call just like this where we chat. And then I pull all the sort of puzzle pieces out of their brain and arrange that into like a 500 word by 500 word outline. All they have to do is show up and write this little bitty snippet and they can like write anywhere in the book, but they know by the time it's all done, it all comes together. So it's kind of like a paint by numbers of your own book.
That is so cool. I
Yeah,
love
it's
how
really
you break
fun.
that down. You're actually you're grabbing the highlights and the topics and like those little snippets and tidbits that bring so much value that kind of say this is from that person, but then you can expand and extrapolate upon that.
Exactly. And it makes it really easy for them because they don't have to do kind of the thinking work of the book, which is kind of the really hard part. They can just sort of write and speak whatever's on their mind. And it's super unique to them because nobody else can beat you. It's also crazy indexable. And then you can also, since I think about it from a marketing perspective, you take that book and you break that into your social media content for like what, 5 years? All your emails, all your everything. I come at it from this angle of like, I want to do the one thing that's going to take care of your marketing for the next 5 years. And then a book doesn't seem like such a big deal because you're like, oh, 5 years? Sure, of course.
Right. Yeah. You're getting so much content out of it. And so true. One piece of content can be broken up into many other pieces that can then become video content if they want, or
Mhm.
explainer videos or blogs. The options are endless once you have that foundational piece, and then it just ripples out from there. And now, your experience in business and working with other businesses, can you give me some insight into what other business owners are kind of thinking, feeling, or going through right now in any aspect, whether it's the growth, anything related to their business growth?
Oh, I love that you asked this because I think about it all the time and no one ever asks. One thing that I'm noticing, I don't know if I'm just like a lightning rod for this or whatever, but whenever something bad is happening on the internet, people come to me and they're like, I think I'm the only. And I'm like, no, like 7 other people told me that today, that they think their business is struggling or failing in a way that it never has before. People are in a weird space. Things are very complex. Sales cycles are a lot longer. And they've also moved off of really public spaces and into quiet like group chats. A lot of people, I think, are having a really hard time in business, but they don't feel like they're allowed to say it because they've been doing it for a long time and you got to keep your game face on. I'm seeing that. And what's fascinating to me is at the same time, I'm seeing them make these really smart strategic moves for the long term. And as long as they can kind of like separate the scared part of their brain from the strategy part, they're doing the things that move the business forward and it's working super well. It's just having that, I don't know, like confidence or like ability to just sort of push through your own mind to be like, it's probably going to fail. I don't know, but I'm going to do it anyway. And the people who are doing that, it's actually working really well.
Interesting. Sometimes we just need to get out of our own way. I feel like as much as we can propel a business forward, we're also holding it back at points.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's such a personal development journey, right? Like when you start a business, nobody ever thinks that, but like if you're not growing with it, you will stall it.
Absolutely. And I've seen a lot of business owners they get to a point where they're so busy, but they're not ready to trust someone else or a team to be able to pick up everything that they're working on. And yes, there's some growing pains and obstacles along that journey. But I feel like once you empower your team and you give them the tools, they can expand you to new heights that you haven't seen before.
Absolutely. And bizarrely, I've like been so much better at doing this for other people's teams than I was for my own. I did grow into an agency and it was very successful. And then I realized like 3 years in, I didn't like it. I actually scaled it back. But yeah, doing that with other people's teams has been super rewarding.
That is incredible. And kind of within that realm of like the marketing, the sales and business growth, a lot of times 99% of that marketing advice that we're given is either it's old and outdated or it sets us up to fail. What
Yeah.
are your thoughts on that? And how do we kind of position ourselves to get rid of just the white noise of
Yeah.
marketing advice?
Ooh, that's such a good question. Okay, 2 branches. Branch 1, most marketing advice is predicated on the fact that you can control time and space, and that's just not true. Because it says, well, if you do this, then your people will just fall over it. And I'm like, nope, for a sale to happen, you have to have the right thing in front of the right person at the right time in the right way. And I don't control the flow of time and space. So that automatically sets me up for failure if I'm trying to follow this. Branch 2 is that people are moving their trust building kind of offline. So it used to be this like very broadcast focus, like, oh, well, if you talk about it a lot, I believe you, you build your education. Now, if people aren't buying your thing, it's because their friends don't like you. They're going to the group chat and saying, hey, is this person legit? Hey, do you think I should buy this? And the friends are like, or they're like, oh, yeah, I know her, buy her thing.
Wow, that is really interesting. I do, we kind of see the shifts and trends within marketing, sales, and business cycles. It's constantly changing, but that's a very interesting insight to it because I agree. A lot of people are really going to, like you said, the private group chats and asking family and friends, I need feedback on this because I'm not 100% certain just yet.
Right. Absolutely. And if they're also, I think, questioning their own decision making because we had a big cohort of people come in 2020 and slightly afterwards. And now they're reaching that spot in the business where they realize, like, wait, this never gets easier. And you're like, nope, it's just different kind of hard all the way down. Like fun, but also hard. And so I think we're having this like crisis of confidence in that wave. We're also having a crisis of confidence in the cohort that I'm in, which is the people who've been doing this almost 20 years, where it's like, wait, shouldn't I be past this? Shouldn't things be stable now? Is it me? Am I doing something wrong? And I mean, the answer is no, like the world's just weird, man. Sometimes that happens.
I've asked like all those questions 20 times a day for the last 3 months. And
Yeah.
these are the things that business owners, entrepreneurs go through. It's a struggle. We're kind of
Yeah.
fighting with ourselves at times.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And like if you're surrounded by people who are also like having the same thing, but like we can't say that because we have to be cool or whatever and be like, no, it's fine. My business is fine. Then you feel really weird. And it's like, it's this weird cycle. So that's why I always try to talk about this. Whenever like stuff happens on the internet and people start coming to me, I'm like, all right, I'll be the first one to say it. Everybody else having a hard time? All right. And then it all comes in.
Now everyone's talking about it now and a little bit more comfortable. We kind of treat it like Fight Club. We all know it exists, but we're
Yes.
not, it's supposed to be hush. We're not going to talk about it until that conversation feels like it's appropriate.
Absolutely. And safe, I think, because it's been such a like, get your game face on, just show the internet that you're the best person ever. And I'm like, okay, sure, maybe. Or also you could just be like, hey, I'm a human. You too? Sounds cool.
You too? It's funny. As time goes on, we've seen the introduction and rapid development of artificial intelligence. Many things are changing within the online space. So it's kind of an interesting dilemma for us as humans to be able to try to put ourselves out into the world versus what AI is doing. How are you kind of approaching this? Because it does kind of affect both marketing, copywriting, business growth, and
Yeah.
just business cycles overall. How
Yeah.
are you handling it?
People told me for like, I don't know, like 3 years ago, they're like, you're going to be out of business in 6 months. And I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. I've been doing this forever. It's not going to happen. And it hasn't because what AI is really good at is putting ideas together. It's really good at helping people think about things, but it can't strategically solve problems. It can't do anything that's truly creative because it's just mashing past things together. It can't come up with something new. The way I'm handling it is by leaning into what I actually do, which is I solve problems instead of trying to compete with the machine. And I think a lot of people are kind of falling into that trap of, well, I'll just be like bigger and better and faster. And I'm like, no, that's tiring. I'm old. I don't want to do that. I just want to be better. Like, you don't have to be loud to be heard.
That is really impactful. If you had to start your business over from scratch, what would you focus on?
Okay, so I would still build the relationships because that's been the thing that's carried my business through and all the businesses that I've known that have lasted this long. It's about the quality of relationships you have. But the big piece of advice I would give myself is hire an accountant. Please don't do this to me. I ended up in a spot where I hadn't paid taxes for 3 years in 2 separate countries. And that was painful to undo. Now I would go back and tell myself, like, hire an accountant. It's fine. Don't be scared.
My goodness, there are moments where we want to try and do everything ourselves. We're wearing a lot of hats, but just the technical knowledge that goes into it, it
Yeah.
is definitely worth the money and our time to have it back to allow these experts and professionals do these things for us.
Absolutely.
Now, I wanted to ask, where can people find and connect with you online?
You can find me at boltfromthebluecopywriting.com. You're also welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn or Instagram, or you can email me and I will email you back with my very own fingers.
I love that. And we'll have those links available down in the show notes and the description. Now, 2026, we're almost halfway through, right? Are you kind of like working on something like bringing a new product to market, or are you just kind of growing and working on everything that's been working with you so far?
I'm in a bit of a brand shift where I'm focusing more on like myself as the center of the business because I realize like people like Bolt, but they really want me, which is just horrifically painful to my introverted heart. But here we are doing that. And then doing a lot of book outlining. I'm also teaching a lot about podcast guesting because, again, I fell into it backwards. I didn't even check my metrics, which is super unusual for me. But I did earlier this year. And I realized that in the past 12 months alone, I've got 2.5 million views and 1.8 million listens just from podcast guesting. And that's where a lot of my business is coming from. I'm teaching that a lot too.
That is fantastic. Rachel, we appreciate you coming on the show, sharing your business journey, everything that's been working for you, helping out your clients. We do want to allow you an opportunity to have the next 60 seconds, if you'd like, just to share anything off your mind we haven't covered yet, practical advice for entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Okay, so the first practical advice I always give everyone is update your bio. People write them and they're like, oh, this is hard to write about myself. I'll fix it later. But then you never fix it later. And then it's like 7 years later and it's like, oh. Go update your bio. And if you've already done that, then look at your calls to action. Make sure they're clear. Make sure they are singular. Make sure you're not doing the thing where you're like, buy my thing or don't. It's fine, whatever. Those are my 2 pieces of advice.
I love it. Rachel, congratulations on everything you've done. Keep up the great work. So excited for your journey. And we appreciate you coming on.
Thanks so much.